penultimate day of the Amgen Tour of California took the riders away from Claremont and up the climb of Mount Baldy for the big finish. A total of 120 kilometres. For much of the day, 8 riders led the field. The overall leader was Chris Horner.
Yes, but those 8 riders were not given very much of an advantage, because in that 8 right-man leading group, but Ryder Hagedal and Andrew Trelansky of Team Garmin-Cervelo were dangerous riders in the overall classification. The group was only given a 2-minute lead.
Yes, but one man enjoying himself in that leading group was Pat McCarty, who was the leader in the California Travel and Tourism King of the Mountains, sat at the back here. He cleaned up on the first climb of the Glendora Ridge Road, and by the time he got to the next climb on the Glendora Mountain Road, he was winning it again.
Yes, by taking maximum points on the first 2 King of the Mountains of the day, he's extended his lead in that classification with just one more climb left now, and that's the big summit of Mount Baldy.
When they crossed the Glendora Mount Road, the peloton were 2 minutes back, but then Pat McCartney dropped back, and that was the signal for the peloton to begin to crumble. The next destination was the steep climb to the finishing line of Mount Baldy.
An amazing job done on this stage by Team Radio Shack of Levi Leipheimer and Chris Horner, doing the bulk of the pacemaking at the front end of the main field, although they were helped on occasions by Team Leopard Trek.
So Pat McCartney was out of the break now. 7.5 kilometres were remaining. The peloton was thinning down dramatically, and the riders were beginning to go. Grisha Neiman, number 86, they're falling back from the breakaway. One after another, they were being picked up by a very select bunch of riders, always under the escort of Radio Shack.
Radio Shack doing a phenomenal job. One man who figured he had a chance of survival was Alexander Efemkin. He was the rider from Team Type 1 who was the last man to survive from our 8-man leading group. And as the front of the main field was completely red, white and black of Team Radio Shack, many riders at the back end of that group started to splinter.
So Efemkin making his bid here to try and steal the show. He won the recent Tour of Turkey, and he was trying to get up the overall classification. He was 7 minutes behind the yellow jersey of Chris Horner, so there was no big concern for where Alexander Efemkin was. The thing was, these boys from Radio Shack wanted to win everything.
One young man by the name of Matty Boucher, 26 years of age from the United States, did a phenomenal job on the front. At 4.7 kilometres to go, there was only one leader left, Alexander Efemkin.
Gap just half a minute to the chase group, which was containing fewer and fewer riders, but certainly in the yellow jersey. And Andy Schleck was one rider who was being dropped by that chase group.
He fought his way back into the field at around about 3.5 kilometres to go, but all of a sudden the big acceleration when it came from Levi Leipheimer, it really put the damper on Andy Schleck's hope for a show on this stage.
Red number there on TJ Van Garderen. He was showing a little bit of recovery on the climb. He measured his effort a lot better than he'd done on the Sierra Road, and he wasn't dropping so far back, and he was climbing up the overall classification again tonight. But for the boys from Radio Shack, once Boucher had got the men right to the head of the race, it was time for him to drop off and leave Levi Leipheimer and Chris Horner to go up the mountain together.
Well, Levi Leipheimer, normally a team leader of this Team Radio Shack, on this occasion a team helper, and he did it to absolute perfection. He just looked over his shoulder to make sure that his teammate Chris Horner, the overall leader, was comfortable, and he took it to them.
Schleck was dreaming of things which might come in the month of July in the Tour de France, in which the race is finished twice second. But for these two now, this was their Tour de France, the Tour of California. They both live in the States, and as they turned for home, Chris Horner wasn't going to spoil the party now for the other rider from Radio Shack, Levi Leipheimer. They crossed the line together, no separation on time. They remain the top 2 riders in the Tour, split by the same margin at which they had at the start of the stage, 38 seconds.
And the important thing is they opened up their advantage again and even more on everybody else in this bike race.
1 day to go now, a race around 1,000 Oaks, and they'll feel pretty safe and assured that one of them surely now will win this race when it ends in 1,000 Oaks tomorrow. A great ride for 3rd place from the Dutchman Laurens ten Dam.
Well, he's in great form now. He lost well over 40 seconds when he came up to the line, but a good performance by him. Big time gaps appearing as Andy Schleck finally came in to just about stay well inside of the top 10. But the man leading them home here was the Italian rider, Damiano Caruso.
Caruso just beating Schleck to the line, but congratulations between themselves here. This really was an in-house occasion for Team Radio Shack, going 1 and 2. Having earned his yellow jersey on the Sierra Road on Wednesday, he still has it on with 1 day to go now. Horner, Leipheimer, Danielson up into 3rd, Van der Velde holds 4th, TJ is up into 5th.